If you're an avid consumer of Aidan O'Connell content like me, which of course you are, you clicked on this video, then you've probably noticed one of the things referenced most often in pieces about him is his elite accuracy. One reason for this seems to be because his private quarterback coach, Jeff Christensen, who's worked with AOC since he was 12, is readily available for phone interviews to gas his boy up. Another reason is because you can see it on tape, like here against the Chiefs. The KC DBs wander around pre-snap before finally morphing into a cover 2 look. O'Connell's target is Jakobi Meyers, who will be carried to the next level by the corner pressed up against him. The safety on the right knows he's got to get there in time for the handoff, and he sprints to that side to cut off the space between him and the CB, a space on the field named, suggestively, the honey hole. O'Connell throws the ball perfectly on time and over the corner to where only Meyers can snatch it, and to a space where he can still come down with it safely and avoid a big hit from the DB. Not bad for a guy who looks more like he would have sold me weed in college than a professional athlete. But that elite accuracy label, while it feels more intangible, can be something that gets thrown around like a QB looking like a franchise guy. And when you take a step back, it's easy to wonder just how elite his accuracy was when he completed just 62.1% of his passes, landing him at 27th in the league in completion rate. This small bit about AOC is a microcosm of how we often see guys in his position as young, late-round quarterbacks who showed some promise but also didn't pop off the screen or on paper. It all depends how you look at it. Does the quantifiable bad outweigh the eye test good? Or is it the other way around? Will Aidan O'Connell start for Las Vegas next season? Although new Raiders head coach Antonio Pierce has said any new quarterback will have to beat out O'Connell for the starting job, that doesn't mean QB1 is guaranteed. AOC knows that and is prepared to fight for the opportunity, saying, "It's my job to keep my job, it doesn't really matter who they bring in." The guy who doesn't matter then is Gardner Minshew. The Raiders gave him a 2-year, $25 million deal, which puts him at low-end starter money, but it's not so much that Las Vegas will feel beholden to make him the starter regardless of what happens at camp. Uncle Rico has been a high-quality backup and spot starter for the past few years, and had a pretty decent season filling in for the Colts after rookie Anthony Richardson went down in Week 5. Comparing their 2023s head-to-head, O'Connell and Minshew actually come out looking pretty similar statistically. Of course, Minshew is much more mobile and, from what I've seen, has a bit more control over how he uses his eyes to manipulate defenses, but he's also been in the league for 4 more years to develop some of that savviness. And for what it's worth, O'Connell's rookie year, organizationally, wasn't the smoothest. Josh McDaniels, the Raiders head coach to start the season, was fired on Halloween night. And although AOC did get a chance to start in Week 4, it seemed the old regime wasn't as high on him as the new one, as McDaniels opted, as he often does, to go with a former Patriot in Brian Hoyer when Day 1 starter Jimmy Garoppolo went down again in Week 7. But then Tyson Bagent happened, and O'Connell was installed as the starter again after Jimmy G went to the bench for good the following week. He went 5-5 across 10 starts, including winning 3 of the Raiders' final 4 games, putting up 8 touchdowns and 0 interceptions, and officially ending Brandon Staley's time as the Chargers head coach along the way. But as easy as it is to cherry-pick the green flags, it's just as easy to find the red. One of those wins came against the eventual Super Bowl champion Chiefs, which is great, until you realize O'Connell went 9 for 21 for 62 yards. Or how, in the contest just before that 4-game stretch, AOC and Las Vegas were shut out in a vintage 0-3 loss to Minnesota, the lowest scoring NFL game in 16 years. O'Connell was also a sneaky 25 years old in his rookie year, but that doesn't mean he can't develop further with more game experience and an offseason where he's treated more as a realistic starting option than he was coming into camp last year. He's been a gamer since his Purdue days as a walk-on, initially as the 8th quarterback on the depth chart. And while there will be a survivorship bias, many reports say he trusted the process, had a good support system in his corner, and developed a better understanding of the offense and quarterback play, and was able to put that knowledge to the test on the field quickly. The NFL is a different beast for sure, but I'd rather hear a guy like him has been on the trajectory upwards for the past few years than stayed stagnant. Let's take a deeper look at the film and see what O'Connell was doing well and where he needs to improve. One of the more exciting things about AOC's tape is some of his ball placement when he engages his great mechanics, especially in areas that can be a little scary for younger quarterbacks to go. Check out this corner route throw that he makes to Davante Adams against Indianapolis. The Raiders come out in a bunch set on the right side, while the Colts look to be playing banjo coverage with their two intermediate defenders, meaning the left side guy will take the route that goes left and vice versa, while the lone safety protects deep behind them. Adams' route takes him beyond his first level of defenders and then away from the safety. AOC throws this right as Adams is getting past these guys and before he starts to turn to give him space away from the safety. The ball comes out with great anticipation and fits right into his receiver's hands, like dropping a pin over top of the defense. And when we zoom in on the actual throw, we see O'Connell doing a lot of good things. His left arm stays tight to his body to take a bite of the burger, as QB coaches say, which improves his balance and helps generate power through his body, while his eyes and head stay pretty still throughout the follow-through to help his accuracy. While I could stand to see him get his hips a bit more perpendicular to the sideline to be more aligned in where he's going with this, the pocket is also bearing down on him and he's got to get this out right when he does. He also looks good when he throws on the run. Not something I expect O'Connell to do much of, but I did want to shout out just how crisp this pass was, all while he kept his eyes downfield to freestyle with receiver Trey Tucker. Granted, Tucker couldn't keep his feet in bounds, but that's not on AOC. The thing about O'Connell though is that sometimes that ball placement and accuracy can get out of whack. Take this throw against Miami for example, where he just whiffs on hitting an open Tucker off the mesh concept. The ball falls behind the receiver as the Dolphins' pass rush gets to him. I think this is connected to what I mentioned in the good example. At times, it seems he keeps his feet and hips too parallel with the sidelines, when getting them more perpendicular and towards his throwing direction would result in more consistency for him. It seems these issues are magnified when he's sped up in his process too. According to Pro Football Focus, he's graded as the 39th best quarterback out of 41 qualifying players when throwing in under 2.5 seconds. A stark difference to being graded the 20th best quarterback when throwing in over 2.5 seconds. Let's go back to that Miami game and take a look at the first interception he threw. Although this play comes right on the line of that 2.5 second mark, you can still see how his mechanics and accuracy are affected when he's sped up in his process. On this one, O'Connell wants to hit Tucker on the in route. It's a fine decision since the defender is giving him space towards the middle while Adams takes the safety further downfield. But AOC throws it slightly behind, allowing the Dolphin defender to jump out in front and snatch it out of the air. Zooming in on O'Connell from the end zone angle, we can see again how his alignment and throw may have caused the ball to go more left than he intended. With the pressure coming down on his right side, his body faces away from it at the outset. And then, when he follows through the throw, you can see how his body and head fall away from the pressure towards that same side, causing the ball to go along with it. It's funny to sit here in my office chair and say O'Connell has to be more fearless in the face of pressure, but it's true. For a guy that will likely make his bones on his accuracy as a game manager, he has to be nails on his mechanics regardless of the pocket. And I'm not saying that I think AOC is scared to take hits. Just check out this one he takes on the chin while still throwing 50 yards downfield on a ball that had a chance. But I am saying that O'Connell may need to be a guy who takes a lot of pride in picking himself up off the ground over and over again. I mentioned it just a moment ago, but AOC really does fit that game manager archetype. And I don't mean that as a slight to him, it just means he's a guy that wants to play point guard from the pocket and work off a successful run game. He was best off play action, which makes sense. These types of concepts are often slower developing and have fewer targets, giving him more time and less to worry about so he can better engage his good mechanics. Check out this one against the Dolphins. The run fake sucks down the linebacker and DB on the left side. On the right side, Adams is running a long, rounded off post that's going across the field. Even though he's got two guys focused on him, his route is going into the open space on the opposite side of them. O'Connell lets this one rip right when the other receiver stops his route, and Adams is passing the DB that got tricked by the play action. He uncorks a deep shot away from the two defenders originally chasing him and over the DB that's trying to salvage the coverage. I saw a few of these types of throws from AOC down the sideline that looked really good. And when I watched him, it felt like the Raiders were setting him up to use play action pretty regularly. But, at least according to PFF, he was 26th in play action rate with 22.2% of his dropbacks coming in this concept. On these deep shots, I noticed he does have a tendency to overthrow his receivers, making these plays either more difficult or just missing his guy altogether. He's got the arm and seemingly has the accuracy in other situations, but the biggest thing for him fitting into a game manager role effectively will be on improving his ability in the quick game and staying calm against the blitz. These are both things he showed flashes of being able to do. Here's a simple read that he makes against the Giants when they try to heat him up. The linebacker starts to show his intentions, coming around the edge, just before the snap. This means Hunter Renfrow's little slant route will be going right into the space vacated by him. AOC seems to notice this also and shoots the ball to him right away, but not before giving a little misdirection with his eyes to the other side just after taking the snap. Small details like this can be the difference between a nice gain and a batted ball at the line. But he does miss things and occasionally looks squeamish before getting out a throw. Like here against the Chiefs where he stares down Renfrow after the play fake and can't seem to make a decision until the last second. Credit to the Chiefs corner who sits in the middle between Renfrow and Adams and makes it difficult for AOC to commit, but I would have liked to have seen him give Adams more of a look here. We know he can hit the honey hole, and he needs to be confident in his ability to do it when the corner is flat-footed and the safety is giving up space. And lastly, while I do think O'Connell did a decent job of protecting the ball in his rookie year overall, his 3-interception half against Miami can give you a little pause. For one thing, he needs to completely eliminate dumb decisions like this from his arsenal where he just panic throws a ball up in the air. Just take the sack and live to fight another down. He and everyone else knows he won't be winning any foot races. While he should continue to develop his footwork in the pocket to avoid pressure and big hits, he's also going to have to be okay with not making a bad play worse. So, will Aidan O'Connell keep his starting job heading into next season? I think it all depends on the development he makes from now until then. Was last year essentially his final form, or will 2023 end up being his baseline? After only 10 games, are we just scratching the surface of what AOC has to offer? With his Purdue background, it's hard to imagine he won't be doing his best to come to camp improved next year. But will it be enough? Minshew, with his mobility and experience, does probably give this team a better baseline of quarterback play as it stands right now. But if O'Connell can show improvement in the quick game and be calmer under pressure, I'd be really excited about seeing what I can get out of him in year 2. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please remember to give it a like if you did enjoy it, and please consider subscribing to the channel so you can catch the next one. Thanks, bye.